Los Angeles and Santa Clarita just became a buyer's market, and here what sellers need to do before it gets worse. The first time in over a decade, California is experiencing something many homeowners have never had to sell through before: a real shift in leverage. There are now significantly more sellers than buyers in the market. Inventory is rising and homes are sitting longer. Price reductions are becoming more common, and sellers who are still approaching this market like 21, 22 are finding themselves frustrated, confused, and in many areas forced into price cut they've never experienced before. And here's the truth. The market is no longer rewarding sellers simply for listing a home. It's rewarding sellers who understand strategy because the rules have changed. The buyers changed, and the homes that are still selling quickly and strongly are the homes that are positioned correctly from day one. So today, I want you to walk you through exactly what has shifted in California, Los Angeles area, and the real estate market, why this matters, and if you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, and the biggest mistakes sellers are making right now that are quietly costing them tens of thousands of dollars. Because this is not about fear, this is about preparation. And the sellers who prepare correctly in this market are still winning. Hi, this is Rima Rafeh with the Rafeh Group with DXP Realty here in the Santa Clarita Valley, Los Angeles area. I've been selling California real estate for over 2 decades, and I've closed over $1 billion in real estate. And what I'm sharing with you today is not an opinion, emotion, or headlines. It's what we are seeing happening in real time. And if you're thinking about selling, this conversation could completely change the way you approach your strategy. So let's start with what changed. For years, sellers had the advantage. Inventory was tight, interest rates were low, buyers were emotional, and homes were moving extremely fast. Sellers could price aggressively, and homes would still get multiple offers. Buyer waived contingencies, inspection requests were smaller, and even homes with flaws were selling quickly. But today's market is different. Now buyers have more options. They are comparing, they are slower, they are more analytical. And because affordability has changed dramatically with higher interest rates, buyers are looking at homes through a very different lens. Today's buyers are not asking, do I love this home? They are asking, does this home make financial sense? And that shift changes everything. Because when buyers become more selective, sellers lose the margin for error they once had. Now, pricing matters more. Presentation matters more. Condition matters more. And marketing definitely matters more. And the strategy matters as well. This is the market we are in today. Now let's talk about why some sellers are struggling, because this is important. The biggest issue right now is not the market itself, is that many sellers are mentally still living in the old market. They are anchored to peak pricing. They are comparing their home to what their neighbors sold for 2 years ago. And they're expecting the same urgency from buyers. And they are entering the market with expectations that no longer align with buyers' behavior. And when expectations and reality don't match, frustrations happens. This is where sellers start saying things like, why aren't we getting showings? Why our buyers are asking for too much credits? Why did my neighbor sell faster? And why our buyers are negotiating so much? The answer is simple, because the leverage shifted. And once leverage shifts, everything changes. Now, buyers feel they have time. They feel like they have choices. And that means sellers need to compete differently. Now, let's talk about the number one mistake sellers are making in this market, which is overpricing. And I want to explain this carefully because this is where sellers lose the most money. Many homeowners think pricing high leaves more room for negotiations. That strategy worked better in a seller's market. But in today's market, overpricing creates hesitation, and hesitations kills momentum. The first 2 weeks your home is on the market are your most valuable. That's when active buyers are paying attention. That's when your listing is fresh, and that is when agents are watching. And if your home feels overpriced during that window, buyers do not engage. And here's the dangerous part. By the time sellers realize the pricing is wrong, the strongest buyers have already moved on. Now the listing starts sitting, days on the market increase, and perception changes. Buyers begin asking, what's wrong with the house? Why hasn't it sold? Maybe the seller is unrealistic. And once that perception forms, your leverage starts disappearing. That's why strategic pricing matters more than ever. Not emotional pricing, not hopeful pricing, strategic pricing. You have to price for the market you're entering, not the market you wish still existed. Now let's talk about presentation, because this has become one of the biggest differentiators in today's market. In the past, buyers overlooked flaws because inventory was limited. Today, they don't have to. They compare your home to every other home online before they even decide to tour it. And that means your online presentation is your first showing. If your photos feels dark, cluttered, outdated, or poorly shot, buyers may never even walk through the door. And this is something sellers underestimate constantly. They think buyers will use the potential in person. But today's buyers are deciding emotionally before they ever arrive. So if your home does not create the right impression online, you lose opportunities immediately. And that's why professional photography matters. Staging matters, decluttering matters, lighting matters, even small details definitely matters. Fresh paint, clean landscaping, neutral spaces, because buyers today are not looking for projects, they are looking for homes that feel easy. They want to walk in and feel comfortable. And when a home feels move-in ready, emotionally, buyers respond differently. Now let's talk about marketing, because this is another major shift sellers need to understand. Simply putting your home on the MLS is no longer enough. This is not marketing. That is exposure, and there is a difference. In today's market, homes need attention. They need positioning. They need storytelling. And they need momentum, because buyers are consuming homes the same way they consume everything else now. Through content, through video, through social media, through visuals. Your home has to stand out. And the strongest listings today feel like launches, not just listings. That means professional video, strong digital strategy, social media exposure, open houses with intention, broker outreach, email marketing, community targeting. The homes that create momentum early are still selling well. The homes that quietly appear on the MLS without strategy are struggling. And this is why sellers need to ask better questions. Not just what commissions do you charge, but how are you actually going to market your home? Because the difference between average marketing and aggressive strategic marketing can mean tens of thousands of dollars. Now let's talk about negotiations, because this is another adjustment sellers need to mentally prepare for. In the peak market, buyers wrote very clean offers. They waived contingencies. They overlooked issues. They competed aggressively. That's no longer the standard. Today, buyers negotiate. They ask for credits. They ask for repairs. They ask for closing costs, and they ask for rate breakdowns. And many sellers take this personally, but it's not personal. It's market behavior. Buyers know they have options, and because monthly affordability is tighter, buyers are protecting themselves more carefully. That means sellers need to approach negotiations strategically, not emotionally. Sometimes giving a small credit keeps a strong buyer together. And sometimes being flexible protects your final sale price. And sometimes refusing reasonable requests costs you the deal entirely. This is why having the right representation matters so much, because negotiations today require strategy, not ego. Now let's talk about something sellers do not pay enough attention to, and that is days on the market, because buyers absolutely pay attention to it. The longer a home sits, the weaker the perception becomes, and perception influences value. A home that sells quickly feels desirable. A home that sits feels questionable, even if there's nothing actually wrong with it. That's why the launch strategy matters so much. Momentum matters. The first few weeks matters, and sellers who miss that window often spend the next several months chasing the market down road. And sellers who miss that window often spend the next several months chasing the market downward. That's why waiting too long to make adjustments becomes expensive. And if the market is telling you something, you need to listen early. Not after 60 days and not after 3 price cuts, early. And now let's talk about the most important adjustment of all, is the mindset. Because this market requires a completely different mindset than the last few years. The sellers who are struggling most are usually the ones who are refusing to adapt. They are emotionally attached to old pricing, old expectations, old market conditions, and unfortunately, the market does not reward those behaviors. It rewards alignment. Your home is worth what today's buyer is willing to pay in today's market, not what Zillow says, and not what your neighbor sold for back in 2022, and not what you hoped it will be worth. What today's buyer is actually willing to write on paper. And the fastest sellers understand that, the more successful their experience becomes. Because when expectations align with reality, strategy becomes much easier. Now, here's the important part. This does not mean the market is bad. Homes are still selling every single day. Strong homes are still getting offers, and strong offers. Well-positioned homes are still moving quickly. But the market is rewarding preparation. It's rewarding strategy. And it's definitely rewarding realism. And the sellers who understand that are still doing very well. So this is not about fear. It's about understanding the environment you are stepping into. Because once you understand it, you can navigate it successfully. Now let's talk about what smart sellers are doing right now. They are preparing early. They are handling repairs before going live. And they're getting pre-listing inspections. They are pricing strategically. They are investing in presentation, and they are launching with intention. They're not waiting until their home is sitting to start making changes. They are preparing before the market ever sees the home. And because of that, they create stronger momentum from the beginning. And that is the difference. Now let's talk about timing, because a lot of sellers are sitting on the fence right now, and I understand why. But here's the reality. More inventory is expected to continue entering the market, which means more competition. And more competition means buyers become even more selective. So waiting is no longer automatically the safer option. In many cases, waiting simply means competing against more listings later. And that's why strategy and timing matter together. Closing. So here's what I want you to take away from this conversation. California, Los Angeles real estate has shifted. The leverage has shifted, and buyers' behavior has also shifted. And sellers who continue using yesterday's strategy in today's market are the ones who are struggling most. But sellers who understand the shift, prepare correctly, and position their homes strategically are still winning. They are still selling, and they are still protecting their value, and they're still creating strong outcome. So if you are thinking about selling your home in the Santa Clarita Valley, Los Angeles area, or anywhere in LA County and want to strategize, build successfully for this market, I would love to help and guide you through that process. My name is Rima Rafeh with the Rafeh Group with eXp Realty. If this video helped you, please like it, subscribe, and share it with another California homeowner who needs to hear this. And I will see you on the next one.